Along the southern edge of the Red Sea, where Africa meets the Middle East, lies Somaliland, a place shaped by trade, tradition, and survival. For more than 3 decades, Somaliland existed outside the formal structures of the international system. It governed itself, secured its territory, and maintained internal peace while remaining unrecognized by most of the world. That isolation did not erase Somaliland. Instead, it forced its people to rely on themselves, on social bonds, cultural discipline, and informal systems that quietly kept the country functioning. To understand Somaliland today, one must look beyond politics and borders, into its history, its markets, and the natural wealth beneath its land and seas. Somaliland's modern identity began as the British Somaliland Protectorate, a territory separate from Italian Somalia. In 1960, it gained independence, and days later, voluntarily united with southern Somalia in the hope of creating a strong Somali nation. That hope did not last. Political power became centralized. Somaliland regions were marginalized. By the late 1980s, violence escalated into full-scale repression. Cities such as Hargeisa were heavily bombed, leaving destruction that still marks the landscape today. When Somalia collapsed into chaos in 1991, Somaliland made a defining decision. Rather than descend into prolonged war, it withdrew from the Union and reasserted its sovereignty. What followed was not immediate stability, but long negotiations led by elders, community leaders, and civilians who prioritized reconciliation over revenge. Somaliland rebuilt itself without foreign armies, without peacekeepers, and without international financial institutions. Traditional clan systems were adapted into governance structures. Elders mediated conflicts. Gradually, institutions emerged: courts, security forces, and electoral systems. Elections were held. Power changed hands peacefully. Internal security was maintained in a region often associated with instability. All of this occurred while Somaliland remained unrecognized, a state operating in practice, but absent on paper. From childhood, Somaliland girls are raised with a strong sense of duty to family, faith, and community. Respect for elders, modesty, and personal discipline are emphasized early in life. Education has expanded significantly, particularly in urban areas. Universities now graduate large numbers of women who move into teaching, healthcare, business, and administration. Yet tradition remains deeply rooted. A woman's reputation is still closely linked to family honor, shaping how relationships, marriage, and public life are navigated. Marriage in Somaliland is not simply a private arrangement. It is a social institution that binds families and stabilizes communities. Marriage proposals typically move through families and elders. Islamic law governs the contract, including the requirement of mahr, a gift that belongs exclusively to the bride and symbolizes her rights within the marriage. Weddings are major social events. Entire communities gather to celebrate, reinforcing social bonds and shared identity. In a society that survived conflict and isolation, marriage remains one of the strongest pillars of order. Rising living costs, unemployment, and housing shortages have delayed marriage for many young people. Expectations have remained strong, while economic capacity has not always kept pace. This tension is particularly visible for women, who face social pressure tied to marriage timelines. Despite this, Somaliland society adapts slowly and carefully, balancing long-held customs with modern constraints. In the center of Hargeisa, Somaliland's capital, a remarkable financial system operates in plain sight. On open streets, money changers sit behind wooden tables stacked with bundles of Somaliland shillings. There are no safes, no armed guards, and no visible security. Yet theft is rare. This market functions on trust built over generations. Every trader is known by name, family, and reputation. Dishonesty carries consequences far beyond financial loss. It leads to social exclusion. In the absence of formal banking access, this system became Somaliland's financial backbone. Currency exchange, remittances from the diaspora, and daily trade all pass through these informal networks. Money flows not because contracts are enforced by courts, but because accountability is enforced by society itself. This market has survived for decades, even during periods of regional instability, challenging conventional ideas of how economies function. Somaliland's wider economy operates under extraordinary constraints. Without recognition, access to global finance has been limited. There are no IMF programs, no World Bank loans, and restricted connections to international banking systems. Yet economic life continues. Livestock exports remain central, linking rural producers to Gulf markets through Berbera port. Diaspora remittances sustain households, education, and small businesses. Informal entrepreneurship fills the gaps left by absent formal industries. Women play a quiet but critical role here, managing household finances, running small trading activities, and sustaining local markets. The Somaliland shilling, unsupported by international institutions, circulates within this system, stabilized by careful management and social trust rather than external guarantees. Beneath Somaliland's soil lie resources that could reshape its future. Geological surveys have indicated the presence of oil and gas. Exploration has already drawn the attention of international energy companies. Mineral resources, including gold and industrial materials, add further potential. Along the coast, fisheries remain underdeveloped, while the port of Berbera has emerged as a strategic gateway linking the Horn of Africa to global shipping routes. Somaliland's geography places it near one of the world's most important maritime corridors, a fact increasingly recognized by global actors. Israel's formal recognition of Somaliland marked a turning point, breaking decades of diplomatic isolation and signaling that Somaliland's strategic and economic relevance can no longer be ignored. Somaliland did not wait for recognition to exist. It built peace without foreign armies, sustained families through tradition, empowered women quietly through responsibility, and created markets based on trust rather than force. Recognition may open new doors, but Somaliland's survival was never dependent on it. Its strength came from within, from a society that chose order when chaos was easier, and cohesion when fragmentation was everywhere.